back. 7:45 on your Monday morning. So runners getting ready for today's Boston Marathon right now. Some have already started running. This year's race, of course, comes 5 years after this. That deadly bombing to the finish line. Total of 3 spectators killed, 260 people hurt back in 2013. Gosh, such a tough day 5 years ago. One of the runners near the finish line when that happened was Greg Kalkwerth. He had just finished the marathon when the bombs went off. He joined us this morning to talk about a brand new book that he just finished writing. It's called Was That Thunder? So, Greg, it's great to have you.
Hey, thanks.
How are you?
Appreciate it.
Friend of the show. We've had you on a bunch of times, of course, since that happened. The book is interesting because it's not just about that day. It's kind of a life journey that pivots on that day 5 years ago, wouldn't you say?
A lot of serendipity that put us in what I would say was the right place at the right time. Ironically, my probably closest near-death experience came right outside your studios here downtown, where I was hit by a taxi cab about 3.5 weeks before the Boston Marathon. So in a time frame of roughly 4 weeks, I was hit by a taxi cab. Thankfully, didn't even have a broken rib, only bruised.
Because you still ran the marathon.
Still ran the marathon, but then had the terrorists try to blow us up out there in Boston.
Well, it's crazy, too, because you had just finished running the marathon, your best time you've had, under 4 hours, which is fantastic. And then all of a sudden, what?
So I was being treated for dehydration, having pushed to break those 4 hours. Was in the medical tent. The amazing serendipity is that my family, at the time, a 5-month-old baby girl and a three-year-old son, were going to line up right where the bomb exploded. Wow. But thankfully, we had secured through one of my Alzheimer's Association teammates VIP passes, so that put them on the opposite side of the street, up in the bleachers.
Thank God, huh?
Even more serendipity is that when I crossed the finish line roughly 8 minutes before the explosion, my wife asked my son, do you want to stay and watch the runners or wait back at the reception that we were having at the hotel? Bryce hesitated and said, let's go wait for Dad.
Yeah, because they were in the hotel. Right.
And honestly didn't even know it had happened until I looked out the window, start seeing all these people running away from the finish line. And then, of course, the TV coverage comes on explaining what had happened, which, again, was pretty scary for my wife because I'm now in the medical tent. I'd already texted her that that's where I was. And then she sees reports that say, reports of 2 bombs near medical tent.
And who knows what's to come at that point. I mean, so much chaos going on. And when you see the marathon today, now 5 years later, of course, it's just getting underway as we speak. Is that a good moment for you to see that? I mean, is it hard to see that?
Of course, as a runner, I'd love to be there.
Of course. Right.
But yesterday was a tough day as you celebrate the lives that were still people who survived, but you also, again, recognize that the 3 people died on that day, and that's tough, and it could have been our family.
So, all right, the book, can we buy this right now?
Amazon.com, you bet.
Amazon, awesome. So search for Was That Thunder? I mean, who is this story for? Because there are a lot of Colorado connections. You talk about the wildfires, the Black Forest wildfires, a lot of things, a lot of your life experiences here in Colorado, your bike accident as well, right before the marathon.
I would actually say it's for my kids, you know, that someday I want them to hopefully remember what Dad went through, and honestly what they went through. But it's a good read. It's fairly light. It's not too gruesome. It's not too in-depth as far as the stuff
But it's also kind of persistence. It's about kind of,
overcoming adversity, and that if you want to do it, you can.
Well, we love talking with you.
It's great to see you.
And, I hate that it's such a tough day talking about what happened 5 years ago, but, it's again, such a cool story. And so, again, Amazon.com. I'll put a link on my Twitter feed so y'all can see it. Thank you, Greg.
You bet.
Happy Monday, by the way.
You bet.
Let's get to this. Greg's watching your Monday weather. Gonna be a great day.
Can I just throw this out there? He's also a nice guy.
He brought that for
He brought this for me.